Apparently, Fred and Joanne Rogers.
Oh, this is more than Don't say it again, please. I don't want to hear you say those words anymore. I appreciate that you've taken this bullet, and I don't have to say it, because it's in my notes, and I didn't even like writing it. But I don't want you to have to say it again. I don't want to have to hear you say it again.
Get ready, everybody. This is the episode where we talk about pee-pee and poop.
Oh, you said it again! Also, I'm putting my foot down right now. This is not the name of the episode. All right? We will call it anything else. We'll talk about whale ponds. We'll talk about human-sized whales. Any of these are better titles for the episode.
Pee-pee and poop.
You've said it twice now when I specifically asked.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? I've always wanted to have a neighbor just like you. I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood with you.
Well, it's another beautiful day in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood.
Yep.
Yep, and it's a alright day in our neighborhood, too.
It's nighttime.
But it was a beautiful day.
Yeah, this is less precipitation than usual.
I think we just had some blue skies for a bit.
Somebody's reacting to my words. Oh, look, it's Dan Brisbin.
What?
Dan Brisbin.
Back for more.
Together again for the second time.
I'm Steven.
I'm Andrew.
So all those people are the same as usual. Welcome back, Dan.
Thanks.
Hi, Dan.
Second helpings. Helping you make an amazing podcast.
Yeah.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Mr. Rogers talks today about
Fred
pets.
Rogers.
He's brought like a old Instamatic camera.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody, a friend of his, wanted a picture of his fish.
In this, episode 1497. Got all my notes straight now.
There we go.
He comes in, he does his usual getting ready, and he waves at the camera, and he says, I know people who like me to wave, which is like, who is this? Like a baby likes it when you wave?
Some people like him to wave. Personally, I don't really care. Do you like him to wave?
He can do whatever he wants.
What about you, Dan? You're the
I
outsider
liked
opinion.
it. I appreciated it.
All right. I guess I couldn't really be bothered one way or the other.
Maybe,
I wouldn't want him to do it every episode, though.
Oh, you wouldn't even know if he did.
Yeah.
He's got a camera because somebody wants him to take a picture of his fish.
Yeah, which he does.
I don't know why you would want a picture of a fish.
I don't know why you would want a picture of a fish so badly you lend them a camera. Seems like Mr. Rogers probably has his own camera. Maybe it's not an Instamatic.
Maybe.
Maybe he's real cheap with his film.
You can barely see the fish
In the picture.
It's a bad
That's
picture
true.
of the
I'm
fish.
like, you're pretty far away
He
there,
steps
Fred.
he steps right through the fourth wall to take this picture.
Does he? I missed that.
Yeah, he goes like in front of the table
Uh-huh.
and he comes out towards the camera.
How do you know
Takes
he's
a picture.
past? How do you know where the walls of Mr. Rogers' room are?
We never see him on the other side of that fish tank. He
Yes.
never walks past there. We see a fair bit of the table that the fish tank is on.
Did you believe up until now that the literal fourth wall of Mr. Rogers' house, like the fish tank was right up against that wall?
Yes,
And he was just staring
I did.
into the distance past the...
No, he was talking to the camera, but I feel like the canonical space of his house, that's...
fish tanks. I always
Ends
kind of
at
pictured the fish tank kind of in the middle of the room, forming kind of an island.
I always figured he had a very, very narrow kitchen. Like, I would give you maybe a foot to this side of the table, enough space for a chair.
Does he have cupboards against that wall?
No, I don't think so. I think you only have cupboards on two walls of it, because that's like a dining room. It's a combined kitchen dining room.
Right. So while he's waiting for the Polaroid to develop,
Instead of shaking it, he draws his own fish.
to pass the time.
This is another way to get a picture of a fish.
He's got green construction paper.
And he draws a fish on it.
Cuts it out.
Yeah, his fish, he's like, I'm going to draw a picture of a fish. And his fish consists of one continuous line in a fish shape.
Broadly fish shape.
He looks over at the fish as if to get some reference, and then he draws one dot for the eye.
I mean, in some respects, it looks more like a fish than the more traditional fish drawing.
Right.
Like, it has a pretty, not a very pronounced
You're
fin.
comparing it to like the ichthys fish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like traditionally when you draw a fish, people tend to go real crazy with that back fin, make it real pronounced.
Are you talking
Whereas a
about
lot
the tail?
a lot of fish, the tail just sort of comes more or less straight out the back and stops.
Right, like a rectangle.
Yeah. Like in a guppy, for instance.
So he impales it on a stick.
He does impale it on a stick.
Well, first he compares the photo and the picture. He says that this photograph is more exact, but this one I made myself.
Right, and he's like, I made it, so it's good. Because I'm special and I made it. Just true to Mr.
Well,
Rogers'
let's cut it out and tape it to a stick.
But he cuts it out and he tapes it to the stick upside down.
It looked upside down.
It sure seems like
No, I went back and I watched him draw it.
Uh-huh.
If we assume that he's drawing it upside up for himself.
Maybe he's like that guy who draws Bruce Lee on the piece of plywood.
Upside down?
Yeah.
Okay, but then he holds it up for us on the
Flips
piece of
it.
paper and he's holding
And the
it
eye is
upside up.
closer to the top.
And the eye is closer to the top.
And
But
he
then when
takes
he's
it.
and it's close to the bottom.
And I think that is kind of symbolizing death,
It's a dead fish.
which is possibly a theme of this episode.
I think
so.
it's. I think you just needed to swim it back towards the living room.
Oh, I see. And he couldn't have it facing the wrong way.
Yeah.
I thought he just was such a bad artist that he couldn't even tell what was upside up on his own drawing.
I mean, that's also true.
Your theory makes sense, though.
Thank you.
You know what else Mr. Rogers has?
A land of make believe.
No, a
Oh.
book full of pictures.
Oh yeah,
Of
of different pets.
A pet show.
Yeah.
Any of these pictures stand out to any of you guys?
Well, you've got the two girls with the turtle.
Right.
That's sort of fun.
They're both sort of holding a leg of the
Yeah.
turtle.
You got a sheep with a chariot of flowers.
Uh-huh.
Got a boy and his parrot.
Yeah, the boy and the parrot is the one that stood out to me because the boy seemed terrified of that parrot.
Probably. You got a girl with a duck.
You really wrote all of these down.
I put names for all of them, yeah. There's also a boy with a dog. He describes the dog as very fancy.
It looked normal
I
to
didn't
me.
think it was that fancy a dog.
That was a small dog, and that dog was pretty average, nothing fancy about it.
Yeah.
There was also one with a big dog, and the big dog was lying on the ground. Looked a little bit dead.
Yeah, the boy was napping with the dog is what I think happened there. You're a real...
I thought the boy was like, oh, my dog.
You're a real ray of the opposite of sunshine this week here.
I mean, they
boy.
didn't overtly talk about death that I noticed, but that is something that you need to talk about with kids when they get a pet.
Oh, are we going to get a death episode this week?
I
I hope not. That'll be a bummer.
He definitely brought up, like, sadness a lot.
like
this
what?
episode.
Oh, just as a recurring theme.
That is...
He's like, I got sad, and I got angry, and at the end he's like, talking about sadness again.
He always sort of does that. It's his
Mm.
whole shtick is talking about
Feelings.
embracing your emotions and
Ah.
This
talking
is my
about
reaction to feelings.
Would describe that for us.
It's sort of an
The tongue.
eyes up, tongue down emoji.
It's a pretty dramatic emotion to have in expressing distaste for expressing emotions.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's really an emotion. It's probably like a Anna Kendrick gif, if we're honest.
Okay, I'll try to find an Anna Kendrick gift that matches
Of her
that.
doing that? All right. I would also accept Aubrey Plaza, but it was maybe a bit too broad.
Okay.
I guess the dog won a lot of ribbons, is why he thought it was fancy.
Do you know a lot about dogs? Like breeds of dog?
Not really.
No,
Alright.
I was kind of hoping that you would because there's a lot of dog breeds, and I was just I don't know the names of any dog breeds.
This one looks sort of like a dog.
Yeah, they all look like dogs. That's how
My,
they.
my parents have a Chihuahua.
A Chihuahua is one I could probably identify at a
Yeah,
glance.
this wasn't a Chihuahua.
Yeah, I don't think there was any Chihuahuas in this.
There was a small one that kind of looked like a Chihuahua.
Yeah, the small one was maybe Chihuahua adjacent.
It's Chihuahuish.
Yeah, Chihuahuoid. Chihuahua.
I reckon it's time to go to the land of make believe.
He sings a song first after
Oh, he
he
does?
talks about the fancy song.
Oh,
dog.
right,
He talks
about
about fancy.
Fancy.
Has a nice line about how your body's fancy and so is mine.
Uh-huh.
Has a nice song about I like your insides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like your outsides and I like your insides.
So, since you've kind of been taking the dark take, would this kind of be like
cannibalism.
Yeah.
I put morbid a lot on this notes sheet.
At some point, you gotta wonder who's to blame.
I mean, every time you watch anything, you're in a certain headspace, and that
That's
dictates
true.
your interpretation.
That's true.
Of
Death
it.
of
The
the
upside
author.
down fish just got me thinking death.
The viewer
And I
takes
couldn't
as much to it
shake death.
as the producer. Well, let's, I guess, head away to the land of make-believe. And away we go.
Andrew, you have a girlfriend now?
I do. Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
I mean,
Would she want to be on a podcast?
I don't know, maybe.
Does she
I think
listen
she
to the
listens. I
podcast?
think she does. She seems aware of it. We're going to find out soon.
Because we can just record another one the next time she's here.
Yeah, she'll mention it. If she's listening to this one right now. Like Mom did last time.
That's
Yeah.
right, yeah. This is too much banter. Some
This
of
is
it's going
too
to have
much
to
banter,
get.
yeah,
So
too
here
much
we
banter.
are. Here we are in the land of make believe.
Here we are. Land of make-believe. What a relief.
Yeah, we've got Lady Aberlin and Elsie Jean Platypus.
And they're where they were last time we saw them, but time has elapsed because Elsie Jean has asked Anna Platypus what she wants for her birthday. It was a pet.
Surprise.
Surprise.
We're not surprised.
We're not surprised. She wants a pet. They don't know what kind of pet. She just wants a pet in general.
Right. She
Not
hasn't.
particular as to
She
type.
hasn't set her mind on any one pet. in
I
particular.
bet it ends up being, well, I don't know. It could be something real down the middle, but I could see it being something real weird.
Bob Dog wasn't in this episode, so I'm retracting my Bob Dog prediction.
Bob Dog. We do before we went to Land of Make Believe, we were promised to look at Bob Dog's dog.
No, Bob's dog. Bob Tro.
Yeah. But
King Friday of 13s shows up.
he hears they're talking about pets. He's got a pet he'd like to show them.
It's really their own fault for holding this conversation on his front stoop.
I mean, that's true. Can't
Uh,
have it at the platypus mound. I want to see the platypus mound.
someday.
I remember it being kind of neat.
He's a pet person, apparently.
He has a pet. Mom platypus didn't know.
Nobody knew. I guess because he's been keeping his pet in a drawer for
I mean, Lady Aberlin.
probably 30 years.
Pretty unethical.
Lady Aberlin seemed to know.
Did she?
Yeah. His pet is Troglodytes Aeden.
Yes. Troglodytes. Aeden. I don't know how I'm going to spell Aeden.
Oh, Aeden, just like the Latin name for house wren. But it's just spelt like the Latin name for house wren.
Okay.
It's a house wren, and it is named in the Anaplatypus style of what's the Latin name for this thing. But it's a wooden one on a stick.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. It took me a while to figure out what, like, obviously the prop is made of wood.
Yeah.
But I spent a long time figuring out, is this supposed to be a real bird? Because it's being held by someone who's not a real person.
Yeah. The lines between
Like,
real and
there's
fictional
an obvious
are.
stick hanging out the bottom, but Big Bird was here before, which means Kermit the Frog could be here, and he's got sticks coming out of his wrists.
Yeah, well, not anymore. They chroma key them out. But we don't know if they would have chroma keyed out Troglodytes Aeden's stick if they'd had the opportunity.
Right.
But no, Lady Aberlin sort of rolls her eyes and says, "Yes, we've met."
Mm.
She seems low-key embarrassed at King Friday and his toy pet.
Yeah, after he leaves, she
Seems
makes
like
the
a-
remark. She says, everyone likes to have ideas. Let's leave it at
Yeah,
that.
she is not having it with Troglodytes Aeden, but King Friday is enamored with Troglodytes Aeden. He sings a song to it. It's very charming, I think. I'm real into these two being best friends.
Sure.
Well, him being best friends with it.
It can't be best friends with him.
No, because it's just a wooden bird on a stick.
It's the land of make-believe.
Yeah, and within the land of make-believe is just a wooden bird on a stick. It's named Troglodytes Aeden. He sings and dances around with it.
Now, here's something that I noticed during
Mhm.
this song and dance number. He lets go of it for part of the song, and it, like, goes and comes back to him.
Yeah, he's great with it.
Or does he just have, like, what's his face? Edgar Cook on the floor moving it around for him.
He believes in the heart of the cards. And so he can really, like, fling that stick around and it comes back.
What does that mean?
He can make it to come and to go. Yu-Gi-Oh! It was a Yu-Gi-Oh! Reference.
Oh. Tune in next time for our Yu-Gi-Oh! podcast.
Please,
Featuring only
won't
Andrew,
you?
who only is the one who knows about
Blue, won't you? Eyes, white dragon.
He lets Lady Aberlin, quote, take it for a walk.
I would say makes Lady Aberlin take it for a walk.
She doesn't really walk, though. But I guess the bird moves
No,
around.
but she does the bird stick dance. She's pretty good at it. It's all about, there's a certain like fluidity to a proper troglodytes AEDON dance. And she does
the traditional troglodytes.
She does a pretty good job of it. I would say she's right up there with, let's be honest, Mr. Rogers in the manipulation of this bird on a stick.
Or Edgar Cook.
Yeah, maybe Edgar Cook. So then they sort of compare and contrast the pros and cons of having a wooden bird on a stick for a pet versus a real pet. Also, Mom Platypus says that a real pet can be at times more cuddly. There is some extreme tact going on because Lady Platypus and Lady Aberlin, even after her dance with Troglodytes AEDON, are not on board.
No.
With this pet, and they're trying very hard to be nice about it, but doing a bad job of it.
King Friday sort of understands after he's like, "Oh, you guys are talking about living pets." Well, in that case, he says specifically, live pets are an entirely different creature.
Yeah, which they literally are,
I guess.
But King Friday's not the only person with some outsider pet pitches.
Lady Elaine Fairchilde with a special PowerPoint of various photos.
She has gathered all the neighborhood children and Bob Troll.
Yes, the fourth neighborhood child.
The fourth neighborhood child. And she's going to take them on a field trip inside the museum go-round.
Oh boy.
We get to go inside the museum go-round to look at some pets that she thinks Anna should consider having.
So the inside of that museum go-round.
Yeah, the concourse of catalogs.
That's like the theater place?
Yeah.
Do they go there much?
We've never been there before.
This
is the first time we've ever been inside any room in the museum go-round.
Interesting.
And I like this building. It's like a big marble amphitheater theater.
Mm-hmm. It's got an engraved concourse of catalogs
on it.
On the wall.
Yeah.
It's got a TV monitor.
It's got a screen where she can pull up pictures of stuff, which is mostly what her museum go-round seems to do, is pull up different pictures of things. And it's got a big podium for her to stand behind.
The collection is so vast that you really can't dive into it physically.
Yeah. It's very much like a Star Trek museum, but specifically a 60s Star Trek museum where everything is made of painted plywood.
When props were expensive.
Yeah. I like how cavernous the room feels.
Mm-hmm.
It feels really big, partly because Lady Elaine Fairchilde is so small standing behind the tiny podium.
Right.
In a pretty big room. And then she pitches some pets. I couldn't tell if she was serious or joking.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both with her.
Because she was definitely getting some laughs.
Yeah, the kids weren't taking her seriously, and she didn't really correct them on that. But I do feel like she was kind of hoping that they would take her seriously.
Yeah. These are the pets that Lady Elaine Fairchilde would want. Number one, with a bullet, a whale.
Yeah, she's already planned out.
To dig a lake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She calls it a whale pond.
A vast body of water taking up the entire ground space of the land of make-believe.
Yeah,
Still, I don't think the whale could even turn around.
She basically wants to make the neighborhood of make-believe into oceanfront property.
But she does say that
which would increase everybody's land value, so it's not a bad deal.
What would the whale eat?
Krill?
That whale's gonna die. See? Foreshadowing.
I mean...
she does say that you'll need a boat to take it for walks.
Right.
So it needs to at least be big enough for a boat and a whale to get around.
I mean, I think if you carved out a lake, a pond on the scale that you propose, I think that would be room enough to house a Lady Elaine Fairchilde scale whale.
Mm.
Right? Because a whale of that size, depending on the breed, a blue whale is still probably going to be very, very big. But like a pilot whale or a killer whale,
right?
Isn't going to be much bigger than than Lady Aberlin. And Lady Aberlin, if she were a whale,
I'm thinking a whale in scale with Lady Abigail Fairchilde.
Yeah,
is going to be like car sized, like the size of a car.
Now, what kind of species of whale are you thinking?
Like a Mazda. I don't know.
Not species of car, species of whale.
Just the average whale.
Just the average whale. Okay, yeah. Like I think an orca, which is not technically a whale, not a true whale, would probably be person sized.
Like a pilot whale. I don't know. I'm just throwing out whale words.
The whale in the photo or the drawing.
Oh, that's true.
Was like 20 times the size of a boat.
Yeah.
a little one-person boat. So that's pretty big.
But you're looking at 20 times the size of a anaplatypus person-sized boat. So, like, what's 20 times the size of a human hand, basically? Probably a horse. How tall are most horses? Those are measured in hands.
Okay, estimates. Let's hear them.
7.
How many hands are we going? Finger splayed?
I don't know. I've never measured a horse before.
Which I would say that's like one piano octave is a thumb to pinky span.
I think my thumb to pinky span is about a foot.
30 octaves tall, a horse.
Okay.
Horses are so many shapes and sizes, though.
They're all horse shapes.
So I think you're looking at about a horse-sized whale. Now, who would win in a fight? 20 whale-sized horses or one horse-sized whale?
Is it taking place on land or water?
Wait, say this again?
20 whale-sized horses or one horse-sized whale?
I think the 20 whale-sized horses would destroy.
No, because the thing you're forgetting is the cube square law. A horse of that size would collapse under its own weight. It would die in agony.
I did forget about that one.
The cube square law gets you every time.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time speculating about a horse the size of Labrador, the part of Canada.
You spend a lot of time prior to this podcast.
Yeah.
What would happen if there was a horse the size of
Labrador, the region of Canada,
continental
part of
body,
Newfoundland, Labrador? The answer is you couldn't dig a hole deep enough for it to breathe in the atmosphere. It's too tall.
No kidding.
Yeah. Turns out the atmosphere is not nearly as thick as Labrador is, even at its narrowest.
If it was lying down?
If it was lying down, then possibly it could, yeah.
Just breathe out of like one side of its mouth.
Even then, though, I don't know.
You'd use up all the oxygen in the world so fast.
I mean, yeah, you need to plant a tree the size of probably New Brunswick at minimum.
But enough about horses. That is not one of the pets that Lady Elaine suggests.
No. So I think a whale is plausible, is what we're getting at here.
In addition to whales,
I disagree.
I think a puppet scale whale is plausible. Because I think you're only looking at
We've already had
as
this
big as
conversation.
it's the porpoise, basically, from the opera.
I think King Kong is more plausible when she's like monkey and then King Kong comes up.
Yeah, she suggests monkey. Well, she starts with bugs, snails.
Oh yeah, right.
Whales.
Anna Platypus thinks the snail is kind of cute.
Yeah,
she
maybe
gets a
she'll
snail
get
at the end of the week.
And then Lady Elaine will just toot her own horn.
Yeah,
and then
her own horn.
Quickly, this presentation devolves into...
You skipped right over my great toot her own horn joke.
Applause.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
That's her catchphrase.
She says toot sometimes.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, we go through bugs, snails, whales, and then the presentation sort of quickly devolves into just a collection of Lady Elaine's photoshops of monkeys doing different things.
Yeah.
Circus monkey.
But not even real, so just monkeys with clothing painted on them.
Yeah.
Digitally, not like nobody took body paint to a monkey.
No face painting monkeys.
No, they just have had clothes drawn onto these photos.
Animal abuse if I've ever heard it.
No, nobody involved in the production of the show was within 30 feet of a monkey at any point in their life. That's the Mr. Rogers promise.
There's probably a chimpanzee on Mr. Rogers at some point.
It's like those M&Ms, right? They keep them in a separate bag away from all the monkeys. Not M&Ms, Mars bars.
We finish off with elephants.
Elephants can help around the house by lifting your car
or your house.
This is a big elephant.
Which, if your car is in a garage that's on top of your roof,
that is handy. That's
might be
true.
useful.
But again, I don't know.
Throwback to Dan Brisbin's last episode with us.
Also, my first episode with you.
I was going to say an elephant couldn't lift a car, but an elephant could lift a car the size of the platypus family might drive. I imagine it would be like a wood panel station wagon.
But not if the elephant was to scale. Oh boy, here we go again.
We don't hear any follow-up yet on the hypersonic magical firemobile.
You mean the magic electric supersonic firemobile?
Let me check my notes here. Yes, I do.
I was kind of hoping that we would, because then it would start a tradition of Dan being on every episode with an electric vehicle.
Oh, yeah. So they think that the elephant is delightful, an idea, but not actually.
Yeah, they are not taking her seriously.
Yeah, and it definitely feels like she's doing like her stand-up set. Like she's riffing on is like, you could have a whale, but the problem is you'd need a boat to walk it.
Anybody got any more notes? Or
Oh, there is one more thing about the concourse of catalogs. When she starts the presentation and at the end she says, could we get the lights down? Who is she talking to? Does the museum go around employ staff, or is it sentient and can control its own lights? I guess it doesn't have to be sentient. She could just have like a proto-Alexa.
An artificial intelligence.
I would assume there's a lights guy.
Proto-Alexa.
Paid or volunteer.
There's only like 20 people that live in this neighborhood that we know of. Is there a whole maintenance guy at the museum go around that we've never met before?
I mean, if it's anybody, it's probably Edgar. Again.
Edgar.
Are you sure there's not a bunch of people you haven't met?
I mean, there's some people we haven't met. We haven't met Purple Panda, and we know he's been introduced because we saw him in a picture.
Right. But there's
unless that was part of like
nobody
a big
in the picture that
ARG
Anna Platypus drew that was conspicuously like, who's this guy? Maybe he runs the lights at the museum.
Yeah. Or else it's like, I mean, there's a lot of people who we didn't see today. So maybe like Handyman Joe Negri
or Neighbor
works there. I mean, it's clearly big enough inside there to accommodate Bob Crow and larger people.
Yeah, I feel like you need a big staff at a place like that.
Yeah, well, but again,
because I am still imagining
a lot of it runs on magic.
I'm still imagining the full vastness of the museum grounds interior to be like a Harry Potter Gringotts scenario.
Oh, for sure.
Just a miles deep vault of artifacts.
Yeah.
The bell outside of the museum grounds starts dinging, and then Lady Elaine's like, "Oh, you kids can go get that," and they're just like standing there, not going anywhere. And she's like, "Yeah, thanks. Just go on now."
Yeah, better answer the door. Does she ever come up out of the museum ground?
No, they talk about her behind her back.
Yeah, she doesn't seem overly bothered that they didn't like her pet ideas. This is a real chill Lady
I think
Elaine
at some point she decided that this was too grand for Anna Platypus, and she's wanting to do this kind of stuff.
Yeah, she wants her own whale. I bet she's got room in she's probably got a whale in the basement of the museum go-round. In the W gallery.
So up above ground, they start discussing why different people might like pets.
Yeah, Bob Troll wants the sort. Actually, first, Lady Aberlin asks, "Why do people want pets?" I've always wondered that.
She's not a pet person.
Clearly, maybe this was the real reason she wasn't on board with the Troglodytes AEDON. She is not a pet person, and that extends to wooden birds on sticks. Bob Troll says that he would like the sort of pet you can chase and tumble about with. Daniel Tiger, very on brand, says he wants a pet like a fish that won't really go anywhere or move around too much.
But Anna Platypus wants one that she can hug and whisper secrets to.
Yeah.
So, not a parrot.
That's true. Not a parrot.
Parrots can't keep secrets.
No,
if I've learned anything from a pirate movie.
It's true. I saw an episode of Frasier about that. Yeah. So what kind of pet? Well, that rules out a snail, kind of. I don't know if Anna Platypus could tell a snail.
Or whisper to it.
You could whisper secrets to a snail. Although it would probably like its one eye in.
Retract. So what animal?
Retract. In. Same difference.
What animal would Anna Platypus most like?
Probably a puppy. Maybe a cat.
A Bob Dog. But it's not going to be
Bob Dog is going to spill all your secrets.
That's true.
He won't mean to.
Bunny?
A rabbit? Maybe.
Maybe.
They've got big ears.
That's true. Maybe a platypus? That'd be weird.
Wait. Now, we've determined that a wooden bird is not going to do the trick. Therefore, whatever pet she has by the end of the week, if she does decide that a pet is right for her and doesn't back down on this, is it going to be a live action animal? Is it going to be a puppet? It has to be more realistic than a wooden bird.
I'm not going to... Maybe by the end of the week we'll come back around on this wooden bird thing.
Maybe.
Me and King Friday are repping Team Wooden Bird on a Stick.
Okay.
Yeah. This is the hill I'm dying on. Wooden birds on sticks are great pets. I think we're done in the land of make-believe, yeah?
Yeah,
Yes, no,
I
maybe
reckon so.
Okay.
So let's head back to reality.
Whoa!
Let's head back to Mr. Rogers' fake reality.
It's not his real house, it's his TV house.
He makes that very clear. In this next segment, here we are.
Woo! What happenstance? King Friday has a wooden bird on a stick.
Named Troglodytes AEDON.
Mr. Rogers has a paper fish on a stick.
Who is now named Sally Margaret McFarland.
Yeah. Sally Margaret McFarland with a D.
Oh, McFarland?
Yeah, because Sally Margaret McFarland is Mr. Rogers' friend and the psychologist consultant for Mr. Rogers' neighborhood.
Oh.
Yeah, they met when he was studying theology.
Hmm.
He had to intern under a psychologist, and she was a professor of same.
Gotcha.
Is that part of the show or like real?
That's a real fact.
Oh.
And one day he was like, hey, your name has the same sort of rhythm as Troglodytes AEDON, which is a fake bird that I have on my show. You know this because we talk about it every episode, every week.
You tell me if a bird named Troglodytes AEDON would be traumatizing to children or stunt their mental growth.
Or if we'll have to like break it down for him real slow.
I just flipped over my notes, and at this point it becomes a series of pet illustrations.
Yeah, because now we watch a video of some people with some pets for what feels like
Forever.
an hour and a half.
It's a very long video.
Here's the highlights. First we see a bunny, which I am 99% positive is owned by the lady from yesterday.
Yeah, I was
week.
also thinking that the lady who owned this obese rabbit looked like Adelia from last week's episode.
I'm pretty sure it was. What is it? There's a rabbit. There's some dogs. I see you've drawn a cat. Was there a cat in there?
There was a cat inside of a yellow bag.
I missed the cat, so I'm disappointed about that.
There was a gerbil, and the gerbil was being held by a girl who did not ever hold a gerbil before because she looked tense.
Yep.
She was making the kind of face that if you wanted an ugly selfie of if you had a pretty face and you were like, look, I can be ugly, and then you did that.
Do this face for me. Oh yeah, okay, that could be. It was sort of Steven retracted his face into his skull.
Into my neck.
Yeah. Yeah. If you grabbed if at the beginning of Mario 64, if you grabbed Mario at the base of his nose and pushed inwards, you'd get the face Steven made.
Sure. We come out of this little montage and Miss Rogers just jumps into a song and dance about how angry he is that somebody scared him.
Yeah, sometimes a strange dog scares you, and that's no fun. That's true. I had a strange dog scare me. Wasn't fun. I still kind of resent dogs for it, truth be told.
Did it make you feel small?
It made me feel small, but mostly because the dog was physically larger than me, which is why he scared me so much when he jumped up on me and pushed me down to the road. And my head was like over the curb in the gutter, and all I could think was somebody's going to park their car on my head.
Yeah, I was also pretty scared of dogs as a really young boy.
And that's why.
And cats. I would tell my friends that I was allergic to cats because I didn't like them.
I was afraid of dogs as a child, but I wasn't afraid of cats until I tried very hard to pet one that didn't want to be pet, and then I got cat scratched. You're fancy insides.
Never pet a dog without permission.
Yeah, that's
Mr. Rogers' advice for you.
It's a good message of pet consent.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I was just trying to puzzle out why I have written in my notes, that is he now.
Oh, no, Mr. Rogers, upon hearing a knock at the door, says, maybe that's he. Not maybe that's him. I don't know which one would be grammatically correct, but common use would suggest, please don't say the words maybe that's he.
Who do you think you are, a superhero or an English teacher, Mr. Rogers?
I don't know.
That's a joke for the people who had the same college English teachers we did.
It is. The dog is there. It's on the porch. It's some kind of brownish-looking golden retriever thing.
Yeah, it's a retriever of some sort.
Its name is Barney.
Its name is Barney. Bob Tro's dog, Barney. Not Bob Dog.
Well, we find out that Bob Tro has an ulterior motive for bringing this dog on the show. Bob Tro requests that Mr. Rogers look after his dog. And Mr. Rogers, he seems kind of taken off guard that this is happening like during his show. He's like, well, I'd have to take it to my actual home.
Right.
Like, this is just Mr. Tro, this is a television set.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to take it to my house. I'll have to talk to my actual wife for
How,
this.
how many days? Like, how many days do you need?
Which is confusing because Bob Tro only TV house wants him to take care of his dog.
No, I think he wants him to actually take care of his actual dog because he says, well, I'll have to take it to my real life house because this is just my TV house.
But he doesn't
I'm
actually
gonna have to
call
talk,
his wife.
I'm going to have to talk to Joanne, and then he goes inside and calls from his TV phone.
And then on his call with his wife, or he responds, "Yeah, I'll walk it." Like,
Yeah, right. Yes, I'll
like
walk
that's
it.
the only question she asks.
Are you going to walk
Are
it?
you gonna walk it? Because I feel like he's dog sat before, and she ends up walking it, and she doesn't.
Which is
like
weird
that.
because we know Mr. Rogers loves jogging.
That's true.
Yes.
He's cuckoo for it. But yeah, he starts off, he sort of comes around to the idea when he calls his actual wife Joanne. Because he says, I was hoping she'd say yes.
Does he do this while does Bob Tro leave?
Bob Tro leaves and he says, well, I'll have to think about it.
I guess he's not going very far. Like, he might be
Yeah.
going across town, but he's still just going to be waiting offset, right?
Yeah.
Like, if the request is for him to take it to his actual house, then regardless of how far in the neighborhood of realities,
Mr. Rogers' neighborhood is mostly a diorama. So
yes,
it's pretty convenient.
the dog will probably just sit on the whole thing.
Dog's been very quiet for the rest of this taping.
Mm-hmm.
I think they must have a separate room.
Mr. Rogers talks about responsibility.
Yeah.
He also uses the words pee-pee and poo-poo.
I did not care for that at all.
No, that he definitely lowered himself in my esteem.
I don't like Mr. Rogers saying those words.
When you pick a word to describe human waste, there's no way to be like nonpartisan about it. You're like,
No.
Listen, kids, we all understand. You know what I'm talking about here? I don't know. It's just weird.
No, it is 100% weird. And I think every family arrives at their own euphemisms.
Yeah.
And you never want to hear the wrong ones.
I've never heard responsibility explained that way
I
as a
don't.
response.
I mean, of all the
I
pet
don't know if
ownership
it's-
things, that's the least pleasant couple.
I don't know if Mr. Rogers' etymology lesson is really rock solid here. He says that the word responsibility, you can think of it as being like a response, is when somebody says something and you respond, and a responsibility, like taking care of a dog. The dog barks and you respond. He barks and you have to give him food.
I missed that part, but now I want to look up the etymology of responsibility.
I guess like it kind of makes sense because like, what are some responsibilities? Paying bills. Well, you get a bill, you respond by paying.
I suppose.
What are some other responsibilities that it might work for?
But many responsibilities are preemptive.
Name
Yeah.
one.
Well, for instance,
Put on deodorant so you don't stink later.
Yeah.
What was your instance?
I didn't really have a good one. I was thinking like raising a drawbridge.
Why do you raise the drawbridge?
Just in case some miscreant.
Yeah,
So in
is-
response to the possibility of miscreants.
In anticipation of the
I
possibility.
don't know.
of
I mean,
miscreants.
we're really not going to come to any conclusions until one of us looks up the etymology of responsibility. And we've established that this is not a looking up things podcast. We go in with what we learned from the episode and nothing else.
Anyone have any notes here for the rest of the show?
At the end of the episode, Mr. Rogers says he likes that we can talk about serious things. We didn't talk about any serious things this episode. We mostly just looked at pets. And now I'm out of notes.
Great.
Great. You drew a real fat rabbit.
It was a real fat rabbit
It
in
wasn't
the episode.
that fat a rabbit.
No, I was doing the feeling of the rabbit more than the actual depiction.
I like that dog, though. He's sort of like a skinny Snoopy.
Next week, we will be back
With episode...
1498, which will be volume 2, episode 13. Be sure to check out the Tumblr
Please won't you be my.tumblr.com.
Where are you, Dan?
We have the voice
Please
twins now.
Don't you be my Tumblr.ca.
What are we going to have on the Tumblr? GIFs of Anna Kendrick and Aubrey Plaza.
Maybe doing that face, maybe not.
We will have pictures of photoshopped monkeys.
Yeah.
And whale diagrams. All that and more, really. Our theme song and part of the commentary was provided by
Dan Brisbin.
Dan Leroy Brisbin. Danest man in the whole Dan town.
I like how you've replaced a swear with his name.
Yeah.
Dan Brisbin. And our trolley transition tune was made by Rindale.
He doesn't get a thing. We don't know him.
Dan, you're up.
Well, the week is new next week, and we'll have more things to talk about. Well, at least the Plant Brothers will. Okay, let's try this. We'll be back when the week is new. I know you boys will.
So let's make the most of this beautiful day. Since we're together, we might as well say, would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you please? Won't you please? Please, won't you be my neighbor? Won't you please? Won't you please? Please, won't you be my podcast?
Oh well, I've done what I could. A king tries to please his subjects, and after a certain point, he must simply trust them. Come along, troglodytes. Farewell, ladies.
Farewell, Uncle Friday. Well, everyone likes to have ideas.